And this offense, I put no limitations on this offense, and I know, people are sleeping on us, but it is what it is,
Why do you think people are sleeping on you? And do you pay attention to it? No?
No, you see it. You see everything. You see it. Try to stay off of social media as much as possible, but, you see, obviously, who they talk about, who they don't talk about. Like I said, winning cures all. Yeah.
The Arizona Cardinals are heading into one of the most unpredictable but exciting seasons they've had in most recent years. Let me explain to you why I feel like the Arizona Cardinals are going to be better than most people think. Let's get started. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back into another video. Definitely do me a huge favor, smack the like button on this video and subscribe for more Arizona Cardinals content. On this channel we cover everything Arizona Cardinals news, breaking news, conversational pieces, everything surrounding your favorite team. So subscribe it up. It's absolutely for free. Alright, everybody, let's go and get started here. Let's dive into why the Arizona Cardinals might be one of the most exciting offenses, or probably one of the best offenses heading into the 2024 regular season. Now, I think there's a lot of big hype around the Arizona Cardinals just pertaining to Kyler Murray coming back and being fully healthy. Now, when it comes down to it, yes, the Arizona Cardinals had back-to-back 4-win seasons, and there's a lot of big national media outlets and people outside the Arizona Cardinals organization not really looking at the Arizona Cardinals as a potential playoff team or just a team that's going to do good in general, right? Now, being that Kyler Murray is fully healthy from the start of the season, you can't ignore the elephant in the room, and that is that we added Marvin Harrison Jr., one of the best prospects we've seen coming out of college in a very, very long time. There is a lot of high expectations for Marvin Harrison Jr., just the way that he moves, just the way that he tracks the ball down, just the way that he is and who he is as a player, right? A guy that's a team-first guy that's willing to put the team in front of himself, but a guy that definitely obviously wants to win for Kyler Murray, for the Arizona Cardinals, for himself, right? Talking about one of the best prospects we've seen coming out of college in a very, very long time. So a lot of expectations, and honestly, in training camp, it definitely has not disappointed. Marvin Harrison Jr. is exactly as advertised, and honestly, there's a lot of people out there thinking that he's going to go over 1,000 yards and probably win Offensive Rookie of the Year, but we're going to go ahead and leave a bookmark on that. But obviously, with Marvin Harrison Jr., the addition, that is just going to be the cherry on top of the ice cream, and now it seems like the Cardinals finally found their #1 wide receiver that we actually ended up drafting rather than just bringing in a veteran in. So Marvin Harrison Jr. is the very top of the pyramid as to why this Cardinals offense is going to look night and day different from 2023 to 2024. Now, a couple people that, a lot of people don't really like to talk about, or a lot of people that do not know very much about, if you're not a Cardinal fan, is Michael Wilson. Michael Wilson was drafted last year in the 3rd round. Now, he did have some injury concerns in college, and he did get injured in the NFL as well, but he did play 13 games with the Arizona Cardinals. Now, for his rookie year, he did put some numbers out there. He had 38 receptions, 565 yards, 3 touchdowns, averaged about 14.9 yards a catch. Now, you also got to keep in mind that the numbers are a little skewed, being the fact that he didn't play all 17 games, and on top of that, there was a lot of quarterback changes with the 2023 season. There was Joshua Dobbs, there was also Clayton Tune, and then there was Kyler Murray coming back off that big injury, which some might say that Michael Wilson and Kyler Murray didn't really get fully going until the last game of the season. So a lot of excitement for Michael Wilson potentially being wide receiver 2 for the Arizona Cardinals. And then let's move on over to a guy that a lot of people don't really talk about, especially outside the Bird Gang, especially outside the Arizona Cardinals organization, and that's going to be none other than Greg Dortch. Now, a lot of people wanted this guy to get the opportunity when Rondale Moore was here, but being that Rondale Moore was a 2nd round pick, unfortunately, I think he had some priority over Greg Dortch, being that he was a 2nd round pick, other than a drafted journeyman type of guy. But Greg Dortch is still 26 years old. Now, granted, he's 5'7", 175 yards, but this guy is an absolute baller, especially in this year's training camp. This guy is everywhere around the ball, and he plays a lot bigger than 5'7". When he does have the ball in his hand, he makes absolutely spectacular moves, and he's a very, very good football player. And honestly, I'm very excited to see what he's going to do with the full workload and not having somebody prioritize over him, because I think he's now finally starting to get the opportunity here in the slot. Now, last year, he only had 24 receptions, 280 yards, 2 touchdowns, and averaged about 11.7 yards a catch. But also keep in mind, the same thing as Michael Wilson, there was just a lot of uncertainty with this offense. There's a lot of, quarterback changes, so we don't really fully blame Greg Dortch in terms of his numbers, but this offense is going to be a lot better, especially if everybody can stay healthy. Now, let's move on over to another big offensive piece for the Arizona Cardinals, one of the best tight ends in the NFL, or probably one of the best up-and-coming young tight ends, I guess I should say. Trey McBride, man, what a big showing last year. Now, when we drafted him in the second round a couple years back, we did have Zach Ertz in here, so Zach Ertz kind of took a majority of the snaps in his rookie year, but finally the light bulb clicked here with the Jonathan Gannon regime and finally gave him the opportunity when Zach Ertz was injured, and then of course Zach Ertz ended up getting released by the Arizona Cardinals, and Trey McBride just completely soared up the stock charts, and he was just absolutely amazing. He had 81 receptions, 825 yards, and 3 touchdowns. He averaged about 10.2 yards a catch. This guy's an absolute monster in the red zone, an absolute monster up the middle, and when it comes down to it, this might be one of the most exciting tight ends we've seen come out of college in a very, very long time, and honestly, this is exactly what the Arizona Cardinals need, right? A reliable, big-bodied guy up the middle, especially for Kyler Murray. If there's nothing available on the outside, you've got your reliable big man, tight end Trey McBride going up the middle. And Trey McBride is an absolute star in the making. This guy has exceptional ball skills. He can catch the ball, he can track the ball. He's just very, very good. Honestly, being the fact that the Arizona Cardinals so far going through the wide receivers and now the tight end potentially have one of the top 5, top 10 guys in their position, it's really, really exciting to see what type of offense this is going to be. Now, let's move on over to the running back position. That's going to be none other than James Conner. Now, James Conner has had a really good career within the NFL, but this last year was his very first time that he broke 1,000 yards rushing, and honestly, I think he's going to want to replicate that as well. James Conner, when he was on the field, was a big focal point for the Arizona Cardinals run game. Now, he did have some injuries as well, and I think a lot of this, can the Arizona Cardinals be one of the best offenses or one of the most exciting offenses? Yes. The big caveat is, can they stay healthy, right? We've had James Conner had some injuries. We've had Kyler Murray had some injuries as well, but this all kind of surrounds the idea that they can stay healthy and the Arizona Cardinals can really make some noise on the offensive side of the ball. But last year he had a total of 208 carries, over 1,030 rushing yards, 7 touchdowns, and averaged 5 yards a run. So this guy's an absolute monster, a absolute beast in the red zone, and when he's at the red zone, he can definitely make sure he can punch it in. So very, very exciting player here in James Conner, and like I said earlier, if he can stay healthy, he could potentially be one of the best running backs in the NFL. Now let's dive into the depth players that we have for the Arizona Cardinals in terms of wide receivers. I feel like the front office has done a really good job to address every piece they can on the offensive side of the ball. When it comes down to the wide receivers, I feel like they brought in some really, really good players. Let's go ahead and first start off here with Chris Moore, an absolute journeyman when it comes down to it. This guy is not going to be a forever piece for the Arizona Cardinals, but bringing a guy that's over 6 foot, 200 pounds. Now, granted, he is 31 years old, but he's actually had a lot of playing time within the NFL. He started back in 2016 with the Baltimore Ravens, spent some time with the Texans, and then spent last year with the Tennessee Titans, and now obviously with the Arizona Cardinals. But last year, being the fact that the Tennessee Titans weren't the greatest offensive, passing offense, they actually had over 400 yards receiving and average about 19.3 yards a catch. And I could only assume, I don't really watch a lot of Titans football, but I'm only assuming that this guy wasn't really used a lot. Now, I don't expect him to be used a lot as well in this offense, but being the fact that the Arizona Cardinals will have Chris Moore as a depth piece is just really, really exciting. Now, let's move on over to another depth piece that we have here, and that's going to be none other than Zay Jones, another guy that's been doing it for a very long time here in the NFL. Now, Zay Jones started his career with the Buffalo Bills back in 2017 and actually had a pretty good rookie season, but his second year is where he really started shining. Now, he actually did move to different teams as well, to the Raiders and then the Jaguars, and now finding himself with the Arizona Cardinals. But one of the main reasons as to why he found himself with the Cardinals is he felt like the Arizona Cardinals actually wanted him, right? He felt like the Arizona Cardinals actually wants to use his services and actually can be a focal point on this offense. Now, I can definitely very well see Zay Jones have a bigger role than a Chris Moore will have. Now, I'm on board as Greg Dortch being the #1 slot guy, but being that Zay Jones can potentially play slot or the outside, I would love to see Zay Jones get a potential uptick in this offense as well, because we know that he can do it. We know he can play ball. We know he's an absolute baller. We know that when he has the ball in his hand, or when the ball is up in the air, he's going to track it down. So another guy that's over 6 foot tall as well. And honestly, the more we can get of these guys, the better, right? Because the last regime, we've been running with a lot of guys under 6 foot, and it just kind of was the speed game, right? But I think now we're actually starting to focus on the fact that we're going to be maybe more of a run heavy type of team. Even if it's 55% of the time or 60% of the time, it seems like we're going to be favoring the run game a lot more. And it just means that our offensive weapons, just like Kyler Murray, doesn't have to be that big focal point, right? The guy is going to have to save this offense from being a bad offense to a really good offense. So being the fact that we got really, really good pieces at running back, wide receivers, tight end, and if Kyler Murray can stay healthy, this offense could be potentially one of the best offenses in the entire NFL. Now let's go ahead and just start off here real quick. What are the expectations for the Arizona Cardinals as a team? Kyler Murray has come out and saying Super Bowl, right? Kyler Murray has come out and says he wants to win. That is his main priority. But I think when we're looking at the Arizona Cardinals, they can potentially be a playoff team if everybody can stay healthy, right? Now that's the biggest caveat out there. Can they stay healthy? And now if they could stay healthy, then I do think that this Arizona Cardinal team is primed for 9-10 wins and potentially a playoff berth. Kyler Murray wants it. A lot of these offensive weapons, they want the exact same mission as well. And we've seen Kyler Murray take an absolute growth when it comes down to the maturity level. And this offseason, he has taken a lot of these wide receivers to Southern California to work out. And they pretty much worked out every weekend in a local high school and try to get down to the finer details of how every one of these guys run their routes. They're building the chemistry, they're building the camaraderie amongst each other. And that's definitely something that we have not seen from Kyler Murray or any other quarterback that we had as an Arizona Cardinal. So we're really taking a big jump here from Kyler Murray to try to take that extra step to make a playoff push and really put the Arizona Cardinals on the map. Now, I really feel like the Arizona Cardinals offense can really be a big focal point for this team in general. I think this offense is going to allow us to be a 9-10 win team. Now, I feel like if our defense is going to be better than most people think, heck, why not a 10 or 11 win team, right? Now, we did recently lose BJ Ojulari, which is definitely unfortunate because there's a lot of people that were really excited about BJ Ojulari taking that next step heading into his second year in the NFL. But now the fact that we do have Zaven Collins, he's going to need to step up into that role. Now, Jonathan Gannon has come out and said that everything's on the table, but he does have confidence that there is going to be some people that's going to step up in this locker room. Now, what does that mean, right? Are the Cardinals going to go after a free agency pickup? Are they going to go after a trade? Are they going to keep it in-house? As of right now, the questions are out there, and you can definitely go down a rabbit hole to really kind of figure out what the Cardinals can potentially do. But we do got some pieces out there, right? With Budda Baker, Jalen Thompson, we got some cornerbacks with Sean Murphy-Bunting, and then we got Garrett Williams heading into his second year. Our middle linebacker duo is definitely very underrated with Kazir White as well as Mac Wilson Sr. One of the biggest questions and unknowns out there is what are the Arizona Cardinals going to look like on that defensive line, right? There definitely seems to be a big question mark around that edge position. Although we believe in Zaven Collins that he's going to take that step, we do not know what's going to happen on the other side, and we just do not have the consistency of what can happen with that defensive line. Now, if that defensive line could be one of the, top 15 defensive lines, that's all we need, right? Cause pressure to the opposing defenses is exactly what we're looking for on the defensive side of the ball. So I feel like this team can be very good. The only biggest unknown is that defensive side of the ball. That defense could just be a middle of the line defense, or heck, maybe even like a top 12, top 13. I feel like this team can be very good with the potential of what we have on the offensive side of the ball, right? With Marvin Harrison Jr., Trey McBride, James Conner, Greg Dortch, Michael Wilson, Kyler Murray at quarterback, being that dual threat that he is, he has no limitations for this offense heading into 2024. So this Arizona Cardinal team can be very good as long as we can stay healthy. Ladies and gentlemen, what are your thoughts here of the 2024 Arizona Cardinals? Do you think we're going to be a playoff team? Do you think we're going to be a not playoff team, right? Because we got Vegas at 6.5 wins for the Cardinals. Kyler Murray says bet the over, and he does feel like the Arizona Cardinals are being slept on. Let me know here in the chat below, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate y'all for tuning in as always. Have a great rest of your day, and go Cards.